week 4 of the fantasy football season. Here's a few defense DST units I looked at off the wire this week. The first one, the Cincinnati Bengals. I know the Bengals didn't play yet. Tonight, a great matchup versus the Washington Commanders. Week 4, a good matchup as well with the Carolina Panthers. I know the Panthers came off a monster performance at the Las Vegas Raiders, but I don't see the Panthers doing that, obviously, versus Cincinnati Bengal team, where they got a good defense, I believe, for the most part. In the first couple weeks, week 1 versus New England, 16 points allowed, a sack in that ball game. And then week 2 with Kansas City, decent ball game, I thought. 20 points allowed, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, and a fumble recovery. I know it was a tough loss with that passing interference towards the end of the game. And then they went in field goal position and won the ball game with Kansas City. Cincinnati, I expect them to play good here tonight versus Washington. And like I said, even though Carolina looked great at the Raiders, I think they could go into Carolina and cause havoc as well. Is this Bengal DST available right now in tons of leagues at 73%? The next DST, the Miami Dolphins. I know the Dolphins, it's going to be tough for them now without Tua quarterback, and it looks like Tim Boyle is in there as well for this Miami Dolphin team. After Thompson, he went out with injury. I mean, their defense hasn't been great this season, but I'm doing this as a 1-week streaming option available right now. Miami in 53% of fantasy leagues with a good matchup versus Tennessee. So week 3 at Seattle, 24 points allowed, 3 sacks, 2 interceptions, and I think they could get pressure on Will Levis. Tennessee's coming to Miami, where obviously they've been a better home team. They've been on the road over the last few seasons. I think Miami is a streaming option on Monday night after coming off a bad loss at the Seattle Seahawks. Could go out there and have a good ball game versus Tennessee Titan team and bounce back. The next DST is the Indianapolis Colts, so it was another streaming option for Indianapolis, even though I thought they had a pretty decent ball game in week 3 versus Chicago Bears. So a good matchup here in week 4 versus Steelers, where their offense is conservative and they're not scoring a lot of touchdowns this season, even though they're 3-0. It's just a lot of running and short passes by Justin Fields. In the last 2 games for Indianapolis, week 2 with Green Bay, 16 points allowed, a fumble recovery. In week 3 versus Chicago, 16 points allowed, 4 sacks, 2 interceptions, a fumble recovery. So like I said, this defense, they're better at home than they've been on the road over the last few seasons. In Indianapolis, they could get to the quarterback a little. Justin Fields, he's played perfect for the most part this season, but I believe he's good and due for a couple turnovers and even getting sacked, where his sacks have gone down taken so far this year. Fields looks like a different quarterback. He's not looking to run a whole lot, but like I said, this Steeler offense is built on short passing, running the football, and good defense, and so far it's worked for them 3-0 on the year. But I think Indianapolis, the DST could cause some havoc this week. The next DST is the Tennessee Titans, so going back to that Miami Dolphin game going into Miami. Obviously, Tua is out minimum 3 more weeks, maybe for the season, who knows. And Miami now with either Tim Boyle or Skylar Thompson, if he's going to return from injury in week 4, they could get pressure on whoever the quarterback is, because obviously those quarterbacks are not any good, not getting rid of the football. They don't have a lot of experience, and Tim Boyle's bounced around the league, and Skylar Thompson was a 7th-round pick for a reason. So with that ball game on Monday night and Tennessee available right now in 97% of fantasy leagues, I only like them as a streaming option. I know the last couple weeks they've done nothing. Week 2 versus the Jets, 24 points allowed, 2 sacks. And then week 3, former backup quarterback Malik Willis, 24 points allowed, 3 sacks. But I believe what I saw from Boyle and Skylar Thompson, whoever starts, these guys aren't capable of getting the football down the field and really making plays. So as a streaming option in deep leagues, I like Tennessee as an ad this week, available in 97% of fantasy leagues. And the final DST I looked at off the wall is the Arizona Cardinals. So the Cardinals right now, they're another streaming option with a great matchup coming up versus the Washington Commanders, where their offense has had trouble so far moving the football. And believe it or not, the Cardinals, they've actually had some decent performances, even though it doesn't seem like it in the first 3 weeks. Week 1 at Buffalo, yes, 34 points allowed, 2 sacks, a fumble recovery, and a kick return touchdown. Week 2 versus the Rams, only 10 points allowed, 5 sacks, a fumble recovery. And then week 3 versus the Lions, 20 points allowed, 2 sacks, and an interception. So their defense hasn't totally been horrible. And this week, as a good streaming option with the 3rd home game in a row for Arizona with the Commanders coming to town, I think their defense once again could go out there and be a decent back-end defense this week and possibly crack the top 12. So that's a few defense DST units I looked at off the wire for week 4 of the fantasy football season.